The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so thrilled to have back on the show an incredible guitarist, singer, and songwriter. Not only blues, but also rock and roll. You're going to hear it in the new album, Salvation. Quinn Sullivan, good to have you back on.
Great to see you, Eric. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. You know, I bumped into you at Carter Vintage Guitars.
Yes.
Grand opening for their new location. You know, you and I at Guitar Shop. Seems odd. And we started talking about this album released in June.
Yep.
You know, it's like you are staying very busy. And the City Winery Tour around the whole United States. How's everything going?
It's been really, really fun. We actually just played our 6th show last night here in town in Nashville, and it was great. It was a really good turnout, and I've just been having so much fun playing this new music live for people. That's whenever I make a record, the first thing that comes through my head is I cannot wait to play this live to people.
Well, you know, it was so interesting too, you know, knowing your previous albums, your previous music that I've always enjoyed. It seems to me that this kind of spreading your wings a bit more, you know, certainly, you know, blues guy, what you're known for, a little more rock, a little more soul and R&B in places. How did that come about with these new songs? Because I know you recorded the album in Minneapolis, right?
Recorded it in Minneapolis with a producer named John Fields, who most notably did the first 3 Jonas Brothers albums.
Right.
So
those did okay.
Yeah, a couple million. Yeah.
I hope they make it.
But anyways, so yeah, for this project, I wanted to. I mean, every project that I'm part of, I want to grow deeper and deeper and deeper, and get more in depth as I evolve as an artist. And I think for me, it was just I was just listening to a lot of different kinds of music. You know, soul and R&B music has become a very, very big part of my musical inspiration, especially over the last like 3 or 4 years.
Right.
People like Sly and the Family Stone and
yes.
Otis Redding, Curtis Mayfield. So I go way back to those old school like soul guys, and even like Aretha too. I mean, just across the board, soul has just been a very big part of my musical listening experience the last couple of years. So anyways, it just sort of seeped into this new album and the inspiration for the music behind the record.
Right, and also, you know, it seems very honest and touching also with this whole album, with the songs and everything else that you've done on here. And I know it's special to you, you know, to bring this forth. But I got to tell you, you know, you're known for your guitar playing, but it seems like your voice just keeps getting better, Quinn. I mean, are you taking lessons? I mean, you just go around singing, you know, in the shower more now? How's that working?
Well, I think for me, it's like singing every night. I actually heard Warren Haynes say this one time. He said he doesn't really do any vocal warm-ups. He just sings every day. Wow. And that's how he keeps his voice in check. And he's also one of my favorite. Like, he's known as a guitar player too, but his vocals to me are on par with the guitar. I mean, it's like he's one with his voice and the guitar. So I look up to guys like that because of that reason. And you could tell he just has like this natural thing. So for me, that's kind of what I do. I don't really I probably should do some more vocal warm-ups, but and I've seen some vocal teachers over the years that have helped me out and figure out my voice, because the voice is such a fragile part of your body. Right. And whereas the guitar, I mean, obviously you have to worry about your hands when you're on the road, but for me, the voice is definitely way more delicate and has to be taken care of a little bit more than my hands. But
it seems like also with your voice and with your guitar playing and everything, it seems like you said, like an evolution or a maturing now. It's like the last time you were on the show, you were a teenager.
I know.
Makes me feel so old.
I know.
And you know, and now you're in your 20s. Yeah. And really, you know, like we were talking before we came in studio, Quinn, this album to me feels like kind of like your statement album. You know, kind of like where you want to take things next. And I mean, because you're tied with so many great blues musicians, such as Buddy Guy, who, you know, kind of known for discovering you at a young age and who you've toured with. That's a big deal.
Huge.
You know, and you know, B.B. King that we discussed as well that you played with, and the Crossroads Festival. Yeah. A lot of things that, you know, artists twice your age never get to do. I know. You've already accomplished.
It is crazy when I think about that. But man, I'm always been under the impression of just thinking forward, you know, and forward thinking, and evolving with my music, and, you know, showing more, you know, getting more and more people into what I'm doing as an artist. And that's been the focus now over the last 2 years, and years to come.
It seems like showing more dimensions of Quinn Sullivan. And once again, we were talking to, which, available on CD, and on limited vinyl. I was listening to it on your Spotify channel, but I love the artwork, and and you can't enjoy that unless you have the real deal in your hands. And this image on the cover and also on the back, I mean, these are great. Who shot these photos for you? Because I know it was your vision.
It was my vision. The whole thing was my vision. I told my team, I was like, I have this idea, because they had other ideas, and I was just like, nah, like I've got my idea. Like I was super adamant about it, and they ended up loving it. But this guy Jim Arbogast shot the whole album cover and all of the promo shots that you see for this album. He also shot too.
Yeah.
And we shot this specific photo here. We shot in Newport, Rhode Island, and it was like, we have to get the perfect sunset. We've got to do this and that. And luckily, we ended up getting it perfect, and
it's incredible.
Very lucky that we had a great sunset that night. But
yeah, and also I like the it's like after the storm on the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That was the idea. I wanted that kind of dual sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so many great songs on here too, and we were talking about the singles, which 4 out already, and also Eyes on Me with the video out. But I mean, I've got so many songs I love. Salvation, Make Me Want to Pray, Rise Up Children, Don't Want to Die Today. And you were saying too, besides the lyrics, which you co-wrote all these songs, but then you've got the classic also that we were talking about that's on your Spotify channel, Eyesight to Blind.
Yeah.
Which your own take on that.
It's my own take on it, yeah. So Eyesight to the Blind, I mean, I've listened to that song for years and years and years. It's been one of my favorite songs. And there's one specific version that I love so much. It's the live Eric Clapton 1975 Providence, Rhode Island show that he played with Carlos Santana.
Right.
They were doing a tour together in '75, and there was the specific version that I heard on one of Eric's live albums that I took from that, and that's why I love that song so much, and that's what made me want to do this.
What makes me laugh is that, you mentioned Eric Clapton and Carlos Santana, both of which you've shared the stage with. Yeah. And so when you're playing the Crossroads, you just get to call him Eric? I mean, it's not like Mr. Clapton or anything. It's
honestly, I was so I think I mean, by far, meeting Eric was the most starstruck I think I've ever been in my life. So I don't quite remember actually what I said to him, but I know he was very kind though, and very, 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 very generous to me. Yeah.
Well, and once again, you've come up through music, playing as a young child, guitar lessons at 3, you've made major, accomplishments in music before you were even 10 years old. Now, you're also playing with an Allman Brothers band as like a side deal besides your solo career, Quinn.
Yeah. So Trouble No More is the newest project that I've been a part of. And by the way, it's also super cool because I've never done anything outside of Quinn Sullivan.
Right.
So this is creatively super, super fun. I've grown up with the Allman Brothers music. I mean, I grew up listening to them from 3 years old on. So this is a really, really fun part of my life now. And it's Peter Levin is in the band, who is a longtime member of Greg Allman's band.
Right.
And also most notably playing with the High Women on tour, and Jason Isbell at times, and Marcus King at times.
Just amazing.
Yeah, he's just one of those incredible musicians that everybody loves and respects.
Right.
So to have him be musical director for this band is by far, you couldn't get any better than that.
Well, and also that has to let you stretch out more too, because I mean,
Absolutely.
certainly, from touring with Buddy Guy so long, who is now essentially retiring, but not really retiring. But I mean, you've done the blues, you continue to do the blues and bring your flavor to it.
Yeah.
But now also with kind of the rock and soul flavors too.
Yeah. I was talking to Carlos Santana one time, and a really good piece of advice that he gave me was. Expand your in his words, expand your Rolodex. Don't just be a blues guy. Spread your wings and see what else is out there. And that really hit home for me, because that was kind of what was echoing in my mind was, this is what I want to do. I want to not be pigeonholed in one genre. I want to be almost genreless in a way, you know, because that leaves you to be able to always be able to do whatever you want creatively. And I think this record for me is a perfect representation of that right now.
You know what I'm almost expecting next, Quinn, is like for, you know, down the road to where you have an album that is actually, it's going to be Quinn Sullivan and Friends.
Yeah.
To where, you know, inviting on some of the blues legends that are still with us.
Yeah.
You know, that you have shared the stage with, done the Crossroads with, all these festivals. Then to them be able to come on your album and join you on a song.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
I think that's going to happen.
I think that's a great idea.
We've kind of put that out there, kind of like, you know, it's like a matter of time before like you play the Opry and the Ryman and stuff too. I mean, City Winery Tour, what a great gig.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you get free wine every night before the gig.
You can't go wrong with that.
You can't go wrong. Yeah.
Now that you're not a teenager anymore. Oh my gosh.
I'm an old 25-year-old.
Well, you know, and once again, you know, spreading out your taste also guitar-wise.
Yes.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, you know, certainly you're known for the Stratocaster, but you played, you know, PRSs and a lot of other instruments also.
Yeah.
Did you use a lot of varied guitars on the album?
I used a few. You know, funny enough, I wanted to keep this record like to only a few guitars. I didn't want to get too crazy with the tones and the sounds, just because I wanted to be able to almost play like the same stuff live that would be in the studio. Like, so the same guitar sounds that you hear. But I will say, a funny for a lot of guitar players out there, they might be surprised that I used a Kemper on a lot of these songs. I didn't use a real guitar, like
I couldn't tell it by the tone.
No, you could. Those things are great, and I was really against digital amps for a while, and I used it on this record, and I like fell in love with it.
Well,
so.
especially for touring.
Yeah,
you know, when you're touring the U.S. and internationally even, it's so hard to get the right tube amp that you want.
Yeah, I have a deluxe reverb I love. That stays with me on the road.
Right.
But for the guitars on this record, I just got a new Gibson SG recently, a couple years ago. So that guitar is being played on a lot of this stuff. And John has a really, really great Fender Strat that I used on a lot of that stuff too. And I used the Duesenberg on a song.
Can't go wrong with a doozy, especially with
No.
that tremolo.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
smooth.
so good. And I used an old Martin on some stuff too. So
mixing it up. Yeah, I love the acoustic guitar sound you got on here also.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's so good. And hearing a little bit of slide guitar coming from you as well. It's like I feel like it's kind of like a buffet of your musical skills on this album.
Oh wow, that's I love that. Yeah. So anyways, I'm super proud of this record, and every song feels true to me.
Yeah,
sure.
it really does. It's such an honest album. And I want to make sure for our viewers, Quinn, to be able to get an autographed copy of the vinyl or the CD if they can't come see you live. Where should our viewers go for website, for social media, see all the great things you're doing all around the country?
Yeah, so for social media, Instagram is @QuinnSullivan, Facebook is @QuinnSullivanMusic, TikTok is @QuinnSullivanMusic as well, and X is @QuinnSullivan1, and my website is www.QuinnSullivanMusic.com.
You know, this would make a great T-shirt also, or like this, and you know, get a poster.
We have them on tour. If you come, if you guys are out coming to see us on this tour, we have T-shirts with this album cover. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know him from the blues albums and music he's done in the past. Check out the new album. I think you're going to be as impressed with this as I am. So many great songs on Salvation. You know, you're going to enjoy every single song, so listen to them all. Buy the vinyl, get the CD, go see Quinn Sullivan live. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.